Thank you, Angel, and Heidi ho, everyone. Welcome aboard. Nice to have your company on this Thursday, the 21st of October. And that means a little more than 2 months to Christmas. Amazing stuff, eh? 2021. 2022 going to be better? I think it's possible. It's entirely possible, especially if this vaccine does the trick and keeps us all safe from this dreadful, dreadful thing that we've been experiencing for the last almost 2 years, or certainly 19, 20 months of it, something like that. Anyway, let us enter the Thursday Theatre of Thoughtfulness as I share my chart, which, of course, first up is always the pound versus the US dollar, just to see where we sit and if indeed we're going to trade a breakout today. Now, here's what I am going to do. I'm going to close one of these positions, not necessarily because it's in any danger, but because overnight, pound Kiwi got smashed. I've been in the pound Kiwi monthly trade for the longest time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months by the looks of it, 3 or 4 months, 4 months. And that's now been stopped out. So I've done a 0.25% on that. And that is the reason I am now going to take profit on one of these pound US dollar trades, just to square the ledger up pretty much for the week. It will nearly do that. It's there's only a few dollars in it, so I think it's a wise idea, and I can get back into making a profit for the week rather than a loss, which pound Kiwi would have caused me at this point. No, probably not, because I've got a couple of winners anyway. Let me share that. I'm going to close the first one that we went into, which was this one here. The entry was above, so we're going to take the profit there by closing that, and that one is now dead, and my ledger is pretty much square on the pounds for the week. Pound US dollar versus pound Kiwi, that is, which, as I say, is now out of action. Disappointed in that, but it is what it is. Nobody told me 4 months ago that the Kiwi was going to be the first one to raise interest rates and then have a good CPI number, which of course it has had in the last 7 days or so. All right, so to today. Look, I have no reason to think this is not a range, to be fair. So we've got a high here and we've got a low here. So about 90 odd pips, let's say. Doesn't give us 90 pips to the weekly pivot, that's true. Gives us about half that, 45 odd. What's above us? What's that level? Oh, I know what that level is. That's that level there, which is, of course, getting very, very close. But is there 90 pips available? 138.53. 138.53 from... no, it's only about not even 20 pips. So, yeah, it's not real safe, is it? I think I'd be okay if I was going short, but I don't think I'd want to go long here. So it's a no from me on the breakout trade today. But as I said, if you're just joining us, I have closed the first position that we were in with a good profit on that, which, as I say, makes up for the loss that I've suffered on my monthly trade, which was pound Kiwi. Only 0.25%, so we're not going to cry over it too much. That said, Euro CAD is still going very, very well for us. So the monthly scenario going back to January is still looking pretty fine. All right, so pound, I am actually interested in trading the dollar long today, and I'm going to share that with you because I did take, or I placed an order this morning, but when I looked at the dash thing, I've never traded the dollar index before. I've always wanted to, but I've never traded it before. So these are the parameters. But when I put it in the market on the trade manager, and if anybody is trade manager efficient, or certainly more efficient than myself, please help me out here. So when I put the trade manager in, and I put those parameters in, so I want to trade this at 0.5%. So Slingshot Strategy. Hang on, I'll get rid of that so you can see. Let me go to there. That should be better. Okay, Slingshot Strategy, usual stuff. 0.5% risk and not break a bar, but this entry level here, which was 93.95, so 93.95. You put that in there and you put your stop loss in as 93.45. That's all good. Get rid of take profit pips. We don't want that. We go to TP1 and we put in the level, which is 94.15, 94.15. And we don't want to close anything at that point. So we just put 0 there. And we move our stops to entry. So I'm just trading this aggressively. I don't want to take any profit off the table at TP1, but I do want to move my stop loss to entry. So that should be in accordance with that, which it is. But then I go to TP2, which is where I do want to take some money off the table. I've got it as exit there, but I've actually changed my mind on that. Take profit level 94.51. And there I want to take 80% of the trade off, so 0.8, and keep my stop loss at entry. So all that looks fine. 50 pips of take profit as I see it. But then when I click buy and go, yes, please, here's what happens. I've got no stop loss. I've got 0 pips at TP1 and I've got 1 pip at TP2. Help me, help me, help me, said, ere the huntsman shoot me dead. Does anyone know that? That little rhyme? It takes me a long way back. I'll go through it later. If you that could be the music question, so hang on to that. It may not be. G'day, Ash. How you doing, mate?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. I'll just get myself together here, making sure my screens are all in. Yeah, it looks like a so far. I mean, it looks like a down Thursday, doesn't it? We've had some pretty impressive moves right across the board.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin, silver. I mean, some just really interesting products rallying recently. So Bitcoin, silver rallying to pretty impressive gains. We've seen the stock market obviously rally to relatively impressive gains as well. Probably went way beyond what everybody expected it to do. And now we're just caught at the lower end of a range. Looks like you are as well, mate, on that. What's that? That's the
dollar index.
DXY.
Yeah, I'm actually a dollar bull today. How can that be? I've never been a dollar bull forever.
Well, I don't blame you, to be honest, mate. I mean, this is the interesting dichotomy. I think that is that we've seen gold rally off the back of some fairly down moves, so relatively impressive down moves for a day, intraday, you know, on the dollar, and we've seen gold rally and do pretty well. Silver do the same thing. Bitcoin do the same thing. I think Bitcoin's push yesterday. I think yes, it's exciting. We got to all-time highs, but I think some of that was baked in because of what's going on with the dollar. So you know, we'll have a look at some charts when you're ready, and probably come up with the same theory, but by the end of it, because these markets are interlinked, and it looks like we're looking at the same thing. And you said it a few days ago, and I think you're right on the money. We're caught in a range. We're caught in a range on the dollar. We're caught in a range on the FTSE. We're caught in a range on the S&P. We're caught in a range on gold. We're caught in a range on silver. You know, to a lesser and greater degree. So I don't blame you for being a dollar bull today, as it happens. I wonder whether the dollar has got a little bit more downside, but maybe not yet. You know, maybe these bounce points will hold. You know, we know that the philosophy, the basic philosophy of investing or trading is to buy support and sell resistance. Well, the dollar's at a support level. So if you're looking at intraday, then it makes a lot of sense to buy it. FTSE the same actually, but it's a very hairy looking buy. I mean, the sell looks like it's on today, but it's got to go through a level. And as I say, we'll check it out in a moment and see if we can make some choices on it. But looking heavy at the minute, mate. So looking at a little bit of an intraday sell the rally kind of scenario if it gets up to 71.80 on the FTSE, currently at 71.65. So we'll look at it when you're done.
Cool. Okay. Happy Thursday to you, Paul P. G'day, Lewis. Hi, Gary. And thank you for that prompt. So is that what I've got to do? Let me try that. It kind of makes sense what you're saying. What doesn't make sense to me is that it's expressed in 93.95. So why would I then have to put a different level in? That's my question. But it does make sense what you're saying. So let's try it. Get off there so I can see it. Right, that'll do. So let me try again. 0.5% and entry level. Instead of 93.45, we'll go 0.93. Was it 45? No, that's a take profit level. 95. No, that's a stop loss. 0.9345 is the stop loss, right? Yes. And we don't want that. Take profit 1. We want as 0.9415. And we don't want to take anything off the table, but we do want to move our stops to entry. So that's what that says. TP2, we're going to take at 94, can't remember. It's up here somewhere, isn't it? 51, where I've got exit. It's not actually exit. I'll change that. So 0.9451. And we do want to close 80% of our position at that point, just in case it actually breaks through that level. I don't think it will, but I want to be in the game. I want to have some skin in the game if it does. So if I click buy there, go there, nothing happens. It's worse. Righto. Obviously, I need help with that, but I don't want it to go through here. If anyone can help me, I'm more than happy to be helped with that. Trade Manager doesn't seem to want to accept the levels at which I'm trying to enter, which is a pretty awesome thing. Won't let me trade. I might have to do it manually. I'll come back and do that when you are going through your stuff, Ash. Okay. Right, very, very briefly, one thing I do want to go through before we close today is Euro Swissy. So if somebody could remind me about Euro Swissy, which kind of played out exactly how you would like to see a false break play out. And the reason I want to go through it is because we spoke about it the other day. Not there, but there somewhere. Euro Swissy. Remember we spoke about this the other day, and we said this looks so bullish, it's not funny. And then I said, but we don't know yet whether that breakout is real or false. And we will only know when it comes back and does something at the level. And of course, what it did was come straight back inside and hit the daily pivot. You can't trade that on a 4-hour chart the way I trade anyway, because I haven't got a lower high. But if you go to the hourly chart, when it came back inside, it gave you this little number here. If you're watching the charts at the time and on a 30-minute chart, here's what it presented to you. Lower high, green body, thanks for coming. And that was the entry. So if you want to take a mental picture of that in your head when you see a strong breakout, or any breakout for that matter, and you see it come back inside. That's the sort of thing that can happen. That's not what I'm about today, however. What I'm about today was the dollar index. I am a dollar bull. That brings in just about everything against the dollar. If you want to trade them short, you've got very strong signs on the pound that this has got it. This is very toppy. A lower high here gets you in the game. Euro dollar is going to be exactly the same. Beautiful little double top sitting there now on the 4-hour chart. You're waiting for a lower high here to get in. And I won't go through them all, but it's very, very, very much the same picture. And I do see some trade here that's going to make some money if the dollar does, in fact, bounce off that support level that we have both seen. The reversal bars today, or the game changer bars today, were 3 in number. CAD Swiss was the first. I'm just completely and utterly against this, because when I had a look at the CAD this morning when I was going through my analysis, I saw a few things, and chart-wise, I've got to say this does look toppy. But then I look at the numbers, and the Canadian dollar or Canada had some nice numbers come out. CPI figures, I think they were. Oil is now smashed through and made new highs again. I can't see the CAD, frankly, being a sell. I just can't. So for that reason, I can't trade CAD Swissy short. In fact, I'll be looking to trade it long. And we have come to the bottom of that little range there. The one thing that would stop me here is the big chart pattern. And I'm completely confused by it, because it's telling me this is going to break this range short. Fake out, fake out, fake out, 3 little Indians. And when that happens, generally you'll see price smash through the bottom of the range and come down to the first support level, which is where you need to get out, because it's not a long-term signal. It's only a short-term signal. It's just a range-breaking signal. So I'm completely confused by this. Maybe we just have to go with it, because the chart pattern is telling me short. I can't trade it short just now. Maybe that candle there is tradable. Not for me, because it's got a red body and we're trading at the pivot, so it's a no. But I'm watching all the CAD pairs closely, because I think the CAD has had a bad rap, or maybe let's call it a retracement, shall we? And that's all good and well, but I think it's a very strong currency, and I don't see any reason why it should fall. Euro Swissy, we've already spoken about. It was a big game changer bar, as we've said, and dollar Swissy was the other. Now, don't forget, we have traded dollar Swissy this week, and lo and behold, it's back exactly where we took our first profit, pretty much. But it is at the bottom of this range on the 4-hour chart. So in context, you again have to be thinking, I've got a head and shoulders here. We've had a break of the neckline, if you like, or is this the line? That may well be the neckline right there, which means generally, well, not generally, oftentimes when you've got a descending neckline, if it does break, it'll go a long way, because it's suggesting downside. So you've got the head and shoulders, you've got the now second, third attempt to get through that neckline, which at this point in time is failing, but a lower high here has got to get me interested. So I'm watching that very, very closely as well. And that really is it, apart from Euro Pound, which again has got me completely confused, because on the bigger picture, Euro Pound has come back into this little range. We spoke about that. This range being the descending channel. After a big double top sitting there, you've got to be thinking, oh, lower high, we've got to go short. So that retest bar on the weekly chart is very, very important. And if I saw that as a bullish bar next Monday, for instance, I would be looking to trade underneath it. I can't go short here, however, and if indeed we are to go to the smaller time frames, again, we've got a very, very tight range at which we are the bottom. And if I were to see a higher low here, or is that it? Have we already had the higher low? And are we going back to the top of this range? I think that's probably the case. Too late to trade it, obviously, and difficult to trade into an untested daily pivot as well. But another higher low here would certainly get me interested. That's the 4-hour chart. We could see that happen on any one of the hourly or 30-minute charts as well. So we've got the shape, we've got the base, we've got a clear range, in my humble opinion. All we need here is a clear higher low, and then we can look to trade it back to the weekly pivot, I believe. Thereafter, well, I think anybody's guess at this point, because I'm seeing a case for both directions, but certainly the bigger picture. If I go to there, is this range here. It's the descending channel, which has now been broken back into. And as I said on Monday, if I saw this as a bullish bar, I think I'll be looking to trade underneath it. We will see. My thoughts on the yen. Been weak for a long time, hasn't it, Lewis? Yes. To the point where I just can't entertain buying it. I think if you can find a retracement, happy days. But I'm not a fan at this point in trading against this. Just so weak. Yes, resistance on this one. This is what, Aussie yen, but Aussie's strong and the yen is weak. Retracement only for me on a small time frame, maybe back to a support level. That'd be it. And I think the rest are pretty much the same. If you can pick something weak against it, maybe you can get something, but it's not something I want to entertain at the moment without that retracement, I don't think. So that's me, mate, at the moment. Hanging in there. Those of you who came in late, I did take one of these pound trades off the table. I've banked that. That was the first one we got into last week. I think it was last Wednesday or Thursday we got into that. That was a breakout. We didn't quite make the 2.5 to 1 mark on that. That is there. But because I've suffered this indignant, disgraceful loss on pound Kiwi on the monthly chart, I had to balance the books. So I had to bank some money, which I've done on pound US dollar. So that makes up for it. And I won't go into a weekend in a losing position. So that's why I've done that. It's not really because I didn't want to leave it in the market to the 2.5. It's simply I just need to balance my books. So that's the reason.
Yeah, do you know what, mate? I think that's a really interesting aspect of trading, isn't it? Is that some people, I guess the Jaguars would just hold positions, but I think you and I come from hunting dog kind of backgrounds, and for you and I, the headspace is not having trades in the market that are, as you said, in losing positions. We want really the end of each day, if possible, to be in profit. Totally. At least at the end of every week, and definitely by the end of every month. We wouldn't leave positions open, or we wouldn't want to leave positions open unless we absolutely had to. So I think there's just a different philosophy. I'm totally with you. I'd prefer to make less money and not have to think about my trades all day, because the problem is it just bores in your head. You know, these trades that leave, when you're open, you can be out doing something completely unrelated to trading, and yet
you might be having a cuddle with the wife, and suddenly, oh my God, I've got a frigging trade in the market.
Yeah, but it's on my phone.
It's not going to help, is it?
Yeah, and I don't like that. As I say, I'd prefer to make less money and do the things that I like doing without any kind of thought on what's going on in the market, which is why really over the last year and a half, I switched to in and out. Yep. It wasn't because I think it's the most profitable, because it absolutely isn't the most profitable. What I was doing previously to that was much more profitable, but I just didn't enjoy it. It was quite stressful, sort of like thinking about trades that the whole day, how's that getting on today? And, eventually it closes and like, woohoo, after sort of 2-3 weeks or whatever, it just doesn't sit with me. Doesn't sit well with me at all.
Mate, so, you must be getting old.
Yeah, maybe it is that, mate. Maybe it is that. I just, I think also a friend of mine was trading in a similar way to me, and I saw him get badly beat up. He was doing great, but then he got badly beat up, and it spooked me a bit. And I thought, actually, this isn't for me. I don't, I don't like the roller coaster. I don't like always being talking about. It's not talking about trading. It's talking about one particular position that has got no intellectual analysis doing on it at all. It's just pure hopium, and And it just, as I say, it just didn't suit me. I mean, maybe it's age, mate, but I think it's experience more than anything. I think it's just you just find which way to interact with the market suits you better and suits your lifestyle. You know, your personality, maybe it's you know, where you are in your life, but I think it's your lifestyle. I really like doing other things. You know what I mean? I don't want to be.
There is more to life than sitting in front of charts. 100%.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole point of sitting in front of charts is because you want more to life.
You can afford to have those lovely things that we enjoy. Yes, indeed.
So I'm with you. I would have done the same thing. I would have done exactly the same thing. I would have balanced it up, and then I can let go of not making more money better than I can let go of being in positions that I've got to manage.
100%.
I've still got a position right now which I'm managing, but let's have a look what we got. Yeah, as I say, I've still got a position right now that I've got to manage, but it's so much better than it was. I actually feel like the issues are clearing somewhat.
Excellent. Actually, before you go, mate, a few people in the room we haven't said good day to, and a few people who are here for the first time. Welcome to you guys. It's lovely to have you on board. This is all about you, this show. So it's not just about Ash and I waffling on. It's about what you have in your heads, and it's called Trading Buddies for a reason. If you need something that's burning in your brain, you want to get it off your chest and on the radio, this is the place to do it. So don't be afraid at any stage to put a question in the question box, and you can even come on as a presenter if you want, and show us what you've got or tell us what you've got. We're more than happy to give you our opinions. Absolutely right. And actually, I don't know when we're going to make the announcement about November, but there is stuff coming in November, isn't there? Which I think people will be a bit sad about, but no, they won't. No, they'll be all right. They'll be all right. Of course. Yeah. Okay, so we'll tell you about what's going on in November, because we've only got one more week effectively before November. So we should probably prepare the ground a little bit. Let's have a look around the charts first. So the CAD's really important for me today, because in fact, let's start where I like to start with the FTSE. FTSE 100. Now the FTSE 100 is looking pretty negative today, but this trend to the upside, or the explosive move to the upside, what this can cause is problems, because where people will start getting caught at this high, they'll think that the market is going to be coming down. What can end up happening is, even though the market sort of starts to look a little bit negative up here, what we are looking for, and when I say negative, I'm talking about the indicators. So if you've got this, and this is where we are, we're in this range going on right now. If you've got indicators, which we all like to look for, you know, what are the indicators telling us? One of my favorite indicators is the RSI. Now, when the RSI is over 70, above 50, it starts to get towards 70. When it's 70 and above, it's overbought and relatively embedded as well. So inevitably, when you get a move like this, the RSI does start to look overbought, as does the MACD and stochastics and everything else. So the expectation is, and trading strategies, when you're starting to learn to trade, teach you that you should sell when it's overbought and you should buy when it's oversold. But the problem with that is that this can happen. I mean, we're on a daily chart now, but this can happen where the price action, rather than going from, oh no, I'm in the wrong thing. Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay, I'll use this instead. Rather than going from up here right the way back down to here again, and getting the indicator, which would be sort of like somewhere down here, you'll see the indicator in this zone here. And rather than sort of like with the indicator sort of having to explode up here, what can happen is you'll get this kind of thing. Gets into overbought territory, which should have been up here. So it gets into overbought territory up here. Boom. And you think, right, time to sell. But then it does this. And what that does to the indicator is it starts doing this to the indicator.
until the indicator gets nearer the 50 line again. And as soon as it's near the 50 line, it's in buying territory. And then the market pops up from this point. So you've got to be very careful, with indicators, which is why I don't like, firstly, having indicators on my chart when we talk, but also why I don't like starting with indicators. The best thing to do is start with a price action and see if the indicator matches your analysis. And if the indicator does, great. So what we've got going on right now is a FTSE 100 that is looking very weak this morning. And we've got it caught at the weekly pivot. So the question always is, with the weekly pivot being an area of potential support, and we've got a few here. We've got this one, we've got this one, and maybe more significantly, this one. Trend lines are hard, probably down there that we're looking. So then we've also got this area here, which is around about 100 pips from where we are now, and people will be looking to see if that's going to happen. Because this becomes difficult here, my preference is to wait for it to come here and see if I get a buy signal to move that way again, because that would be, and there you go, there's the confluence point, and that's around about the 25th of October. So a little bit more downside in October, that might well lead us up there. Now intraday, we're aiming probably for this support level here. So intraday, we're probably aiming for around about 71.50, and until it touches that level, then we may well see some weakness. So this is where we can go down to the shorter term timeframes and say, right, we haven't touched this point here. Still not quite. 56. Oh, actually, that's an interesting level, the 56 level, because the 56 level is matching this low, and maybe that's it. Maybe that's as low as we get. But it's gonna get, and but because it's circa this area, you can kind of say it might continue to pop down there. Then we start drawing these trend lines here. And what I'd really like to see is the hourly close near or at this point. And if it does, then I would have thought we could come down for a 30 pip run. And if that was the case, then you've got stops at the highs if you want to use stops. And then you're looking for around about a 1.5 to 1 trade. And that's probably what I'll look to do. Market looks weak enough for that to happen. But I've got to be careful, because the other thing we can do, which would be preferable, would be just to wait for it to come down here and buy it up again, see if it can go in that direction instead. And if we look now at the shorter term timeframes, is there a trend starting here? Well, let's have a look at this 5-minute chart. Not really. It would have to break that point. So we don't really have anything to go on with the 5. Probably more likely to be a bit sticky. So looks like we're better off buying support and selling resistance and seeing if we can get a trade out of it. Now we've got to decipher, should we go long or should we go short today? And this is where we start bringing other things in. Let's start with the VIX, because the VIX has just started to kind of look like it could be turning here. This could be an inverted head and shoulders. We're just above the weekly pivot. We're now just above the daily pivot. So the VIX is starting to look like it could be could have turned. Not that nice to look at on the 15. There's the level there. So we're probably still a little bit trapped on the VIX. So the VIX isn't telling us enough. It's just saying that there's some accumulation here, and be careful for upside. So that's what it's saying. Be careful for upside. And another way to interpret that is sell resistance. It's unlikely to go through resistance with the VIX like this. So sell resistance, no problem at all. Don't mind that. What's the S&P saying? S&P under the daily pivot, again, because of what the VIX is doing. If you were trading the S&P, as S&P looks a bit cleaner than the FTSE actually, because this is already there. And again, this says sell resistance. It doesn't say sell resistance and look for the lowest possible point on the chart. It just says sell resistance and look for the next level down, which is probably there. So you're probably at 4,500. 4505, something like that on the S&P. So maybe a 10 pip move to the downside with the S&P. Let's look at some of the others as well. Nasdaq, same thing. It's that the messaging is the same. Under the daily pivot, we know what's going on with the VIX. So that's suggesting a little bit of cooling off with the market. So again, it's saying that the market isn't as buoyant today. Buyers probably will be a little bit harder to come by, sell resistance. And then the challenge is where you sell that resistance point. Now we're looking at gold and silver. So gold has, in fact, let's start with the dollar. The dollar, I was talking about the dollar yesterday. I don't know if any of you were on the show, but while Ainsley was in, I was saying around about the 93.85 level. Oh, in fact, I think I said 93.83. It got to 93.85 and it did come to the downside. Now, that did trigger in a move in gold to the upside, but much more impressive was the move in silver, because silver actually managed to continue a trend. Look at this point here from yesterday. This is the area yesterday, there to there. So that was our point. And look, just a lovely trend. It started at low of the day, ended at the high of the day. You look at the difference with that and gold. Gold started a little bit below that point, but it kind of got a bit wild. You know, this point got a little bit wild, and actually it's basically hit a range in here. So gold looking good, I would have thought, for a further push to the upside. But let's look at some triggers. You know, when we're looking at the gold chart, let's see what the triggers were, because there were some yesterday. Let me look at this, and I thought this was quite interesting, the way that gold moved. Now, we know that gold traditionally is an inflation hedge. Look at the inflation data that we had yesterday. German PPIs 2.3. Now, a PPI is effectively what the producers are paying. So if they're paying this, they're going to make sure that the consumer pays more. So if you look at the tag here, the change of price of goods sold by manufacturers. So it's what the managers will be paying when they're paying for their goods. So that shows inflation in that area. So it shows inflation for business. Business will pass that on. Now, I know this, we're looking at the euro and the pound. I'm not talking about that correlation. I'm saying that this will eventually get passed on few months down the line. But we had CPI data year on year out of the United Kingdom, 3.1%. Now, we know that the 2% mark is what the central banks are aiming for. That's a whole percent and a bit higher than it wants to be. Core CPI 2.9%, again, nearly 1% higher than it wants to be. Then we go down to the final Euro CPIs here, 3.4%, 1.5% near where it should be, where they want it to be. So rising inflation right across the board. Then we get the CPIs from Canada, staying with continued growth, with a forecast of it growing, but at a slower pace. Year on year at 1.8%, and medium CPI at 2.8%. Trimmed CPI year on year at 3.4. So just about every number above the 2%. So inevitably, now that all ended at 130. Inevitably, in my opinion, that is going to have some upward pressure on gold. Now, when we look at what happened with gold, it kind of finished, the news sort of finished here. And then afterwards, that's when we started to move to the downside. Now, this, I think, was in relation to some central bank speeches. So the drivers are obvious with gold. Now, what that tells us is that gold is likely to hit the brakes and form consolidation until the next announcement is due. It moves when there's announcements. When retail sales happened on Friday, on the 15th of October, a tank. Then since then, we've had some CPI data and it started to really move. So then we're looking to say, okay, well, what's coming? What's coming, and is it tradable in that case? So let's have a look. Up next, here we go. Right, so up next, we've got Philly Fed manufacturing, unemployment claims. This could move the market a little bit. Wallace speaking may move the market a little bit, and Governor Lowe probably won't. The manufacturing PMIs and services PMIs may well move the Aussie. From what I read yesterday from the RBA are less concerned with inflation in domestically than other countries, which said to me when I was reading the statement from them that they probably won't be moving first. Now, I thought that was quite interesting, because we've seen a huge rally in the Aussie, and the Aussie probably will continue to rally as iron ore and coal prices continue to move to the upside, and I appreciate that. However, if we were to take the view that the RBA is probably going to react later, that tells us that the rally to the upside may well not be sustained, may not be able to be sustained. You know, and if you look here, let me bring this on. Okay, so what I put here about the Aussie, if you look here, what I put here about the Aussie is the last thing. If you're not long already, the train may be running out of steam. So jumping on board here looks like a challenge. Now I didn't think it was going to happen the next day. That the day after I wrote it, but the statement was yesterday. I read the statement and it effectively said, we're probably not moving. We're probably not going to be moving on interest rates. Now, taking that into account, it does suggest that the Aussie should weaken a bit today, or should weaken a bit over the course of the next couple of weeks. So I think the Aussie back down to support levels here would be, I think, a relatively natural move. So that's what I'd be seeing today. Aussie weakness, what we got against the dollar, yeah. Aussie weakness across the board makes a lot of sense to me. Not sure about the euro. If the euro was to rally sufficiently, then this would still look like a great short. But because the euro is going to move even later than those guys. But there was a lot. I thought there was a lot to kind of go on and to utilize yesterday. But you know, back to where we start. If the Aussie is going to be weakening, then again, that would suggest that at some point, then the FTSE would start to struggle as well. Now we might well be at a level that is of interest to sell this, and I think we are probably. Yeah, the FTSE looks like a decent sell here down to this point here. So let me just see if I'm going to take it on. I might muse on this for a little while, but I quite like it. I quite like the FTSE for the short, but I'm going to muse on it for a little while. I'll let you know when. I'd kind of prefer the hourly to be closing up there rather than just the 15 minutes. But that doesn't mean that I won't take it because I quite like the price here. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? You know, if you look at this pattern, this is resistance. Good place to take a trade. You look at this pattern, this is support. So it does look like we might well just grab that area down there one more time. So I'm just going to see if things change. But that's the roundup from me, mate. Anyway, I think the little bit of weakness of the FTSE looks like a little intraday short could be on here.
Happy days, mate. I only want to point out one more thing before QM comes in and gives us the daily or the weekly dose of dramatic testing. Yeah. So if you're done, I'll take the screen and then we'll.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, I pointed out on Euro Swissy how sweet that was, that false break. Well, here's the other thing that I say, I don't know, 100 times a day, maybe 50 times a day, that if you see a potential for a reversal to take place and you've got a very clear double top sitting here, this is euro dollar on a 30-minute chart, right? You've got a very, very clear 30-minute chart that's telling you double top. So potential for downside. It's only potential, it's not certain, and it's certainly not, in my humble opinion, tradable, but scalpers will tell you a different story and they'll make good money out of it. Here's the thing. What are we waiting for after a double top, everybody? Lower high, right? Look what we got here on the 30-minute chart. Absolutely sensational. That's what you want. You want a high test bar that is indeed testing a level and a green body or a buying body. Then you enter there. You might like to take your first profit here at the low of the day or at the daily pivot. Either one is fine. On this, you would probably want to just trade that to the daily pivot and get out because you've probably got 2 to 1 there or thereabouts. But these are the things that I talk about every single day. Actually, it's a bit of small, that candle. You probably want to go out to about 10 pips and you've got about the same to the daily pivot. So it's only 1 to 1 to there. And it could bounce, no problem, and give you another test of these highs. I wouldn't be counting on that, to be fair. In fact, I'd like to leave something open if I were in the trade and maybe shoot towards this level here, maybe even down to the weekly pivot. After all, that would complete the sequence, would it not? That would give you a lovely M topping pattern. And that level there.
Mate, just for full disclosure, I've taken a short on the FTSE here. I'm just going to aim for that lower level.
Okay, I'm done.
That's okay. I mean, I was only just to let you know that, really.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you can find your way into that on a very small little candle like that, take your profit, daily pivot. You're at no risk after that, and you could ride it all the way down to there if you're fortunate enough. Maybe taking more profit at that level. So whilst I talk about it in preview every single day, oftentimes we don't have time to look back and say, well, this is exactly what we're talking about, and that's exactly what happened. So watch for that. Anything that suggests to you that the market is about to turn around or can turn around, and then it gets confirmed. Remember, confirmation. Lower high is giving you that, and you can trade with relative confidence down to the next support level, and that's precisely what happened, as I said. Okay, you don't need to give levels, Ash. That's all done.
Yeah, it's all done. Yeah, I mean, we were just looking at it, so it's all good, I think.
Happy days. Then let's say very, very warm and good afternoon in my case, good morning in your case, Ash, and it is afternoon in Malaysia. So let's say good day to John. Hello, yeah. QM.
Hey, good day to you all.
How's things, bud?
Hey, it's all good. No problems at all.
Gee, I'd like to hear that every single day of the week off everybody. That'd be good.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's cool. Everything.
What are you going to hit us with today?
Hopefully today is straightforward.
No, don't be like that.
Nothing. Yeah, nothing.
No twists.
No, not really.
Bullshit. Hi, SF. We haven't said hello to you, SF, watching on YouTube. Good to have you here as always, and everyone else who's tuned in on YouTube and the socials. I never thought I'd be able to be hip enough to say that on the socials, but there you go. Welcome aboard. Nice to have you here. You're about to be absolutely rocked off your socks with our quiz, our weekly quiz. And here he is again, QM John.
Here we are. Well, all topical, I think. Highly doable, even if you are saving your daylight. There we go. Which new free trade deal will see the lamb chops pile up on your plate?
Wow.
Yeah, it's an interesting trade deal for me because I think it's just more or less one way. It seems to be a more or less a one-way trade deal with one of our fellow partners.
Is it that?
That's close. Yeah, yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got it. Bang. So they cut a deal.
That was much ado about. Well, that was part of the much ado. The other part of the much ado was obviously the submarine thing with the new alliance. Well, it wasn't. It's not really a new alliance. The UK, the Aussies, and the US, who have just shunned France aside.
Yeah, that was. I thought that was an interesting one. I could.
Yeah, there's some really interesting movements actually in Europe right now. Poland. I don't know if have you got Poland in your quiz today, John?
I haven't. No, I didn't. Okay. I didn't put it in. But...
Very interesting story where they're effectively saying that that the Poles will be able to take all the good parts of the EU. So where the EU told the UK it can't cherry pick, they're saying that the Polish are effectively just going to veto all of EU decisions, but they're still going to get all the funding that they need. And because the EU can't punish Poland without all other 27 members, and Poland's got to deal with Hungary to make sure that they're effectively going to support each other, they've completely duped the EU into kind of getting all the benefits, but without punishment. It's absolutely brilliant, and they're just ignoring them. So the EU's saying, right, you got to do this. You got to kind of change the shape of your bananas, and Poland are going, nah, I'm not doing that.
I'm going to do that.
There's a bit of shuffling going on, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, mate. Yeah, there is. I think we haven't really seen the genuine hangover yet from Brexit, but I guess it'd take a decade.
It'll be I've steered clear of Brexit this week, I think. Okay, who's making progress on Route 66?
Oh.
This is a little bit of a twist, so I am out.
Yeah, I knew it was bullshit when you said it was before. Okay, Route 66.
Emphasis on the number. Emphasis on the number.
66. Oh, it must be somebody who's 66, is it?
Something got to 66.
Yeah.
Oh, Bitcoin, is it?
Well, that's what I put.
Oh, very good.
Bitcoin.
Very good.
2
out of 2. Can I retire?
I don't mind Bitcoin. Well, my wife is in charge of the Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Yeah. She's doing well.
She's the holding queen.
But she's doing very well, I have to say. She's picked a beauty there. I mean, Bitcoin, it's 65,000. It's just astonishing. Did you get a good price in, John?
I think my wife got in at 46.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
$46. That's amazing.
No. Although she was
sorry,
mate. No, she was talking to somebody last week who bought Bitcoin back in 2000, more or less at the beginning, 2014, something like that.
And still holding. Wow.
Still holding. Wow. Yeah, I mean, they're the people I'm really envious of.
I at that point, I said, I don't want to know anymore. Thanks very much.
Yeah. Yeah.
But fair enough. Yeah, she's got some Ethereum as well. We split our forces. She looks after after those two. I look after the altcoins.
That's what Trading Buddies is about, mate.
You bet.
Yeah, it's the minister of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. Which important upcoming world meeting is maybe not making the best use of technology. I do find it. This one is a little bit. This is topical, considering most of us have not been able to do it.
Most of us not been able to do it.
Yes. Yeah.
Not being able to do it. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, thousands of people are flying into this climate meeting when actually we've been spending the last 12, 16 months on Zoom.
Oh, okay.
What's the problem of leading by example? Maybe have a few leaders there, but not everything.
Yeah, there's still. I mean, it's astounding how ignorant they are. And I use the word ignorant because they are ignoring the facts.
Yeah, it's the only reason I put that one in there is it back in my previous path, but my first job I was in the military, and we would play at some of these things, and the amount of people that go to it behind the scenes, it's astronomical.
Yeah.
Cost things. This is a good one. Which milestone figure did India just achieve? And it probably will have a nice effect on gold soon. Hopefully.
It was. Is it something to do with the vaccine?
I guess so. There's a little picture of a vial there. I don't think it's heroin.
I don't know.
They're up to,
1 billion doses. There you go.
Yeah.
How many people live in India?
Oh, it's over a billion. It's over. Is it close to a billion? I think, or is it over?
Well, I guess if there's 1 billion.
Yes, more. I think it's more. 1.5.
Yeah, they've got a
1.3.
I thought it was a good one. But maybe if they get it all back together, then they'll get on with those weddings.
Yeah, well, do you know what, mate? That's a really interesting point. So what you're saying is that's actually bullish for gold.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I go to quite a few, or did before COVID kicked in, a lot of Indian weddings. There's a lot of gold.
Yeah. They are huge purchasers of gold, and I think the Indian wedding season tends to pick up during December, doesn't it? Or there's certainly sort of like a lot of gold bought at that time for
it's usually
events.
Friends of mine who are in the Philippines as well. They'll have their money, obviously before Bitcoin and things like that. They'll hold a lot of their wealth in gold.
Yeah.
And necklaces and things like that, and they'll pawn it when they need some cash, and they'll get it back out when they're a little more flush.
Interesting one, mate.
Kamal, 1 out of 1.3 billion. I think that's 1 billion doses, right? It's not 1 billion people dosed.
No, 1 million doses.
Okay, so that's over two. That's over both doses.
Still,
okay.
I just think for the size of country, and Jeff, you've been there as well, to actually get that far ahead.
Yeah, it's an achievement. Absolutely.
This is something I watch keenly out here.
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't watching. I wouldn't have missed that one.
Which property company watched its share price continue to fall today? Yes.
I still think this is a weird one. How has this become such a non-event in market terms? You know, we got a sort of the Chinese are very, very good at ironing over the cracks, and you know, whether it's sleight of hand or whether they genuinely deal with these issues, or whether they just kind of manage to tuck them behind the cupboard, is a question, because the contagion from this you would have thought would be a lot worse. By now, but forget down the road. I would have thought by now we would have seen some sort of contagion from this. Maybe it's still coming. I don't know. But either the Chinese are very, very good at cordoning off problems, or they're very good at hiding what's about to come. I don't know.
I'm fascinated by the fact that all of these companies have got it's all on debt.
Yeah.
And then I haven't got a sport question this week. My only sport analogy is that Manchester United are a successful team, but it's on debt.
Yes.
And they're raking it in. What was it when he said nothing to see here? It's all fine. And I think the reason I follow this is a friend of mine has a lot of money in the Chinese stock market. I don't know why, but he seems to do really well with it. And I said to him, I said, "Are you not worried about this, or slightly concerned?" And he went, "No." So it's.
I think there are some companies coming out of China. They're not quite as keen on China as they were. I did hear a few fund managers on a radio show, a podcast the other day, saying that they were less exposed to China than they were previously.
Yeah, as far as I know, I've got no exposure to that.
Jira, welcome back, mate.
Great to
How
see
you
you,
doing?
buddy.
Yeah, great to see you in.
This is which country may have to raise its interest rate.
God,
I'm going to put a little wager with my wife that this country might have to on its, but they're going to meet next week. It's a commodity currency.
This list is as long as your arm.
No, it's a commodity currency. Yeah.
Okay. All right. They
might go next. Jeff said that you guys have said that Australia are giving it. Well, oh yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to be the Aussies.
No.
Short on the dollar. Short on euro. Joe, I'm with you directionally, I've got to say. I'll have a look in the tick.
Which oil company seems to be a little bit hazy on a past report?
Oh. A bit hazy on a past report.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know. I'll have a guess.
That's pretty close. Total.
Oh.
They've been allegedly sitting on this since 71. That they knew that the links were there.
Right.
Which
We're not right, obviously.
Interesting.
Okay, and last one. There is no musical being played today because I haven't had a chance to practice. But which country uses the same national anthem or the melody as the UK? Now, quite a few countries did, and this was a new one to me because I thought that this little ditty was composed for it, but it wasn't. It was used quite a few. But there's one country that still uses it. No.
Okay.
I mean, technically, there are two, but there's one that definitely uses it for a national anthem.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'd love to go. I've never been. Yeah, Scotland. I bet they wish. Yeah, they were forced into using it by a failed company, and Liechtenstein still uses.
Liechtenstein.
That was my next bloody guess.
Yeah, it still uses the same melody.
That is a shocker.
Yeah, and even better than that one, it is still used in the United States as a patriotic song. The melody is.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we are. That's my little roundup for the day.
Thank you very much, John. I mean, I think Jeff and I might need to tell you guys what we got planned sort of for November, because while you're still in, John. We
I've done 22 of these. There you go.
You've done 22, amazing. Well, we hope you're going to continue, mate, because what we are going to be starting to do in November is just switch to Monday and Thursday.
Cool.
There's a couple of reasons for that, but I think Monday makes a lot of sense. We don't want to give up, being in a room with people, but we also recognise that that there are actually sort of some other commitments that we've just got to fulfil. So the Tuesday and Wednesday will need to come out unless somebody else wants to step in. I don't think Lloyd and Alexis will want to do it, which is a shame because they would have been the perfect answer. But if they do, then there still will be a show. But Jeff and I are going to do Monday to sort of start the week with everybody, and we like the Thursdays too much, John, because of the quiz to drop it. So
very kind.
Yeah, so we want to sort of start the week with everybody and end the week with everybody. I know that's not Friday, but we want to sort of bookend it. So that will be happening from November. So the next week will be our last full week, and then we're going to sort of switch to the shortened week.
Yeah.
However, we will be filling in Telegram. So on Tuesday and Wednesday, I'll be probably doing a preview before UK session. And updating any trades that I might get into as a result of those on Tuesday and Wednesday as well. Yeah,
and I'll do the same. I'll get in and do some updates for the market for the Tuesday and Wednesday. So we'll make some points. And if there's a way that you guys can still contact us to ask us questions, maybe we can deal with some, I don't know, educational material in that as well. If people want to do that.
Yeah, just speaking as an observer, it makes sense to me. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to you from an observation.
I'm amazed that you are able to place trades and also interact with us on 4 days a week.
Well, do you know what? It's become a bit difficult because now the UK economy's opened back up again. My girlfriend's going back into work, which means that because I have free time effectively, I'm sort of on the school run. And the way that Jeff and I decided to do that was that he was going to take Tuesday and I was going to take Wednesday. But I find it very difficult without Jeff in the room because there's just too much going on. Because I'm trading on very short-term timeframes. There's just too much going on. So it has become a little bit of a problem. So your observation is correct. But you see, when there's two of you, not such an issue.
I know. I shouldn't do it. I will let you. I have a degree in educational psychology and a counsellor's diploma, so I can't help but just observe things. But I will also say that it is the best thing that I do in the week is coming to the shows with you and watch it during the week. It's the interaction between the two of you. It's fantastic.
Oh, that's very kind of me. Well, this is the thing. Well, that's the thing, and I think Tuesday and Wednesday the interactions had to be diminished because because of, as I say, other sort of external factors. So, but we always want to meet up. So that's what we thought. Like, let's get in Monday because we can still be together. And on a Thursday, we're still together. And we have another special trading buddy in you coming in. So we don't want to stop those shows.
Also, it also reflects that you are good traders in your decision to sort of.
Oh yeah,
it has to come first.
Yeah, not have so many trades on the board as such, like 4 days. So.
Yeah. No, fair point. I'll take that compliment.
Well, you should. You're very kind for still letting me do it, because I've learned to present a little bit better on Zoom, which has been pointed out by some online teaching that I do in music and English. So thank you very much.
You're also getting a thumbs up, John, from Kamal there. It's very informative, and that's exactly what you brought to the table, and it's very, very good. We've enjoyed it. But I was also going to say, as you rightly point out, John, it is very, very difficult to trade and talk at the same time. And that was initially the reason that I think both Ash and I mean, I've been doing this for more than 10 years, every day in front of people. And I used to do it religiously on one chart, the 30-minute euro-dollar chart, which is not near as difficult as doing it on 5 charts or 6 charts on 30-minute charts, I've got to tell you. But it does take a toll. Not necessarily you'll throw up losers, but you miss a lot of winners that you would normally be taking. And that is the problem, because that's our job. We've got to get those. Otherwise, we don't get paid. It's as simple as that. So, yes, we'll also be... George is also coming on Mondays. So Ainsley might pop in as well. It might be a far more filled show, if you like, on Mondays. And, of course, Thursdays, we'll wrap it all up and do as we normally do.
For the people who are on that maybe have not, I do... go to George's show on a Wednesday quite a lot, and if people haven't, they really should. They really.
I've not had the pleasure to see him yet, which is good for me on the Monday, because I'll get.
It's talk about precision, bang.
Yeah, there's no guessing. No guessing there, is there?
Yeah, it's fantastic to watch, and I thought, okay, yeah, I'll go, watch Ash, seen Jeff. Got the doctor. Wow, what more do I need?
Yeah, a bit of everything. Paul, thank you, mate. We really appreciate that. And we don't want to lose touch with you guys. This is the thing. We want to get in the room with you guys, which is why we're not just shutting the whole thing down. We're just saying, you know what, this particular sort of thing isn't working, and rather than being, having a knee-jerk reaction saying let's just bin it, we're saying that we still enjoy it. It's just that we actually physically can't do certain times and trade and do what we're first and foremost meant to be in the industry for, which is to make money from trading. So we've just had to make an executive decision, and I'm glad you guys are supportive of it and appreciate the fact that. And do you know what the other thing is? There's I think most people probably come in on a Monday and a Thursday anyway, so I don't think we'll lose the core listenership. I think that the core listenership will still get some sort of interaction with us, and we can, on a Monday it's good because we can set up the week, and on a Thursday we can close the week with this fabulous quiz. So I think those days seem to be right as well.
Good to me.
Joira, got to have a look at this. Got to have a look at this chart, mate. I'm going to show you mine, but if mine differs to yours, please come on if you're able and show us what you're looking at. And this, to me, is again a great example of why we love doing the show. It's not just because, we don't need to know what we think. We know what we think. But when people such as Jaira and Lewis and anybody who contributes with their own ideas or own questions around charts is absolutely fascinating, because we all learn. And, hey, maybe we even pick up a trade or two. Jaira's looking at a potential short on euro dollar. And as I said before, that is by far and away my go-to theme today. Not necessarily just the euro, but the dollar strength. So 4-hour chart that I'm looking at probably has already given us the trade of the day, which was off here to the daily pivot. I think I mentioned that before on the hourly chart. No, the 30-minute chart, was it? Yeah, 30-minute chart. That was the trade of the day for the euro, trading that bar there down to the daily pivot. So that's now happened. 4-hour chart, you've got to bear that in mind too. That has already happened. So that move number one has already taken place. What I see here totally is the double top on the 4-hour chart, and I would be waiting, in my humble, for one of two things to happen. Breakdown of this trade line and retest of it at the daily pivot level, so confluence area, then look to trade it short, taking profit at that level, which is 116.20 as I see it, or price bouncing at this level, coming back to that confluence area here around about the 116.50 mark, I think it is, and looking for a reversal bar there. This one would be far and away the best one. If we can get price up to here, get a rejection bar that looked something like that or something like that, even better. If I could cut and paste that and put it up there, I'd certainly be trading that. Jira, what are you seeing, mate? Are you seeing this breakdown of the daily pivot, then looking for a retest, or even a pullback here makes sense because you'd get a slingshot there, wouldn't you? If you got a bull bar next on the 4-hour chart, you'd certainly trade underneath that, trading the breakout. Maybe that's what you're looking at. If Jira is still here, I'm sure he'll comment. Or if you want to come on, mate, by all means.
Yeah, he sees what you see.
Oh, you see what I see. Okay, mate. Cheers.
Yeah.
Happy days. Nice to be on the same page. So yeah, look at that, guys. I think that's eminently tradable if it does set up. I pointed out before that 1-hour chart, which has already given us that move. I think now it's time to wait for the next one. That makes sense. Now, can anybody help me with trading the dollar index? I'm going to have to work it out myself, clearly. I have to work it out before price gets up here.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a long, doesn't it, mate? This is the thing.
Yeah, no, I'm not concerned about how we get in. I'm concerned about the trade manager won't allow it. I'll show you what happens.
Oh, I see.
Well, it maybe it'll allow it. I'm using these levels, which naturally you would, the levels off the chart. And why have I got to modify this? That's what I need. So watch what happens, Ash. So I want to trade at 0.5%. I want to trade long at 93.95, right? So I put that in there. If anybody can tell me what I'm doing wrong, please help. Stop loss is 93.45. I don't want to take profit. Well, I do, but I don't want to do it there. So get rid of take profit pips and put the level in. TP1 is 94.15. I don't want to take anything off the table there, but I do want to move my stops to entry. So proportion to close 0, stop loss 0. So that means I don't want to close anything, but I want to move my stop to entry. That's exactly as I want it. TP2, I've got that as actually an exit level. That's not what I'm going to do, but it shouldn't make any difference to this. 94.51 is the second take profit level. I will take 80% off the table at that point and keep my stop loss at entry. So that now should fulfill the criteria that the trade manager requires. Click buy, say yes, and here's what I get. Take profit 10, take profit to 1 pip. WTF.
Does it? I don't understand. Does it need to be a custom instead of a slingshot?
No, it shouldn't make any difference, mate. I've still got the levels in there, but it certainly doesn't like it at all for whatever reason. I mean, I've never traded this this index as such. So I might have to just turn it into euro dollar short by the sound. It'll be the same thing, basically. No clues, anybody?
Profit taken on the FTSE, mate.
Good man. Ended the week with the winner.
Yeah, end of the week with a winner. I mean, the FTSE could come down a little bit further, just so everybody knows. I think it probably will go and touch the monthly pivot, but the weekly pivot. But I'm taking first contact. So now, so you've probably got another 10 pips in this. I would have thought before it reverses. If you guys want to stay in a bit longer, but that's just not my way. So why don't you just trade it without the trade manager? I don't use trade manager. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, I would.
To me, so.
Except I'll be gargling Pinot Grigio in about 5 minutes' time, and I won't be anywhere near my chart. So I just want to set it on and go. That's what I want to do.
Why can't you do that without trade manager?
Well, because I can only set one profit level.
How many do you want? No, no, not necessarily. If you split the trade in two, so let's say you were trading 2 lots as an example.
Oh, place 2 trades. Yeah.
Yeah, place 2 trades. Yeah.
That's hard work, Ash.
I know, but this is harder work. I mean, I don't know how many times that you've asked about this. You've put it into the screen 3 times. You could have placed 2 trades by now.
I know. All right, I'll do that. I'll do it the old-fashioned way.
Do it the old-fashioned way, mate. I've never used.
Yeah, hard but to.
In fact, I used Trade Manager when I first joined ATW. Paul gave me Trade Manager, and I had so many things on my screen. I was like, oh man, all those numbers on the right. You got writing on the right. You got writing at the top. You got things at the bottom covering price action. It just did not suit me at all. So I became a bit of a Neanderthal at that point, and just said, I'm sticking with what I know.
Exactly what we were talking about before. And I'm trading day charts and week charts and monthly charts, don't forget. I don't want to be checking my charts every hour or day or week at all.
No.
I just want to set it on autopilot.
No.
So
I've
that's
used
pretty much
custom
where I'm at. Okay, I'll try custom. I won't do it now. I'm not going to waste any more of you guys' time.
If I'm not placing a slingshot or a wave ride, I've used custom. Sorry.
Cool.
I was a geek.
One thing I haven't
find out what he did.
One thing I haven't mentioned is pound Aussie. How's that going?
Pound Aussie, yeah, interesting pair actually. Certainly the anticipation is for the pound to strengthen because of the potential interest rate hike. And as I said, mate, when I read the Aussie statement, I mean, and check it out later. And I think that might be what people want to know. So what we had yesterday was a member of the Australian central bank saying that they aren't too worried about inflation, and straight away you sort of go, okay, well maybe that suggests that they won't be pressured into raising interest rates, and that appears to be the case. Later on, we got Governor Lowe speaking, because we got the kiddie speaking later. I think this may well be the absolute driver of what happens with the Aussie. But if he backs up what was said, and I can't remember who it was, and I could check. I don't think it really matters. But if he backs up what was said, then I think the Aussie could weaken further. Looks like it was either
their tune. That they've always said. Sorry, always. They have since 2020 said that they won't be raising interest rates till 2024.
Well, there you go, mate. I mean,
I know things do change from a fundamental point of view, but they've got no reason from Australia's point of view to actually change their mind. So I can't see he won't say anything different. I wouldn't imagine.
No.
Okay, you've just convinced me. Stops to entry.
Do you know because they basically kind of on this, they seem to be on this path to say the rest of the world is in all sorts of trouble, but we're not. That was the messaging, really. When we're not in the same trouble as everybody else. So there's nothing to see here, and that does suggest that The UK may be forced into it, but the interesting thing will be about stagflation. That's going to be the next thing. You know, do we get inflation with no growth or little growth? And I think that's the worry. Earnings season looks like it started pretty well.
Yeah, it's on its way up. I get it.
Do you know, mate? Do you know a really interesting tool for this? And I don't know whether you ever use it, but you know the linear regression.
I've heard of it.
If you right click your tools up there.
Yep.
No, right click the actual icons.
What icons?
The pictures. Yeah, those.
Which ones? Yeah, which ones?
We'll just go over where you see the fib tool. Oh, yours are over there. Okay, all right. You might have linear regression. Okay, right click that. Custom down the bottom. And just have a look at linear regression and add that in. So add that to your list.
Yep.
Now have a look where that is on there. Yeah, put one of those on there and see what that looks like.
Holy shit. Didn't do anything. What's it supposed to be?
Yeah, that. Basically, it's a little.
I better change color because I can't see it. God. Where do I click on it?
In the middle, I think.
In the middle, right. I could hardly see them. There it is. Okay. Let's go with white. Okay, so instead of
move it down, sort of like to the length of the channel that you're looking at. Go from the top of where you were, and then extend out to the bottom.
So I'll have to go. Why won't it move?
You got no hope with that trade manager.
I'm like a drunken sailor.
Yeah. Look at that.
Come here.
That's enough.
Sod. I get in the idea. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, look at that. Where would you move stops to, or have you done it already?
I've done it. Entry here.
Oh, entry. Okay, all right. Yeah, I mean, it's above
which
that,
here.
Kind of
nice, lovely, tucked away behind the weekly pivot they were.
Yeah,
and the top of this channel. But somebody's telling me that the pound's going to strengthen, the Aussie's going to weaken. So I thought.
Oh no, I didn't say that. I didn't say that because I don't know with a pound. I mean, the suggestion is that they're going to have to move. The question is, does everybody go, well, so what? You know, you're in a bit of trouble anyway. I would certainly say that the Aussie should weaken. I mean, whether it's against the pound, I don't know, but of course that's the trade you've got on. So,
come here, you sod.
You know, I'd be looking at Aussie Swiss personally. I think that the Aussie versus the Swissy would be my preference if I was going to go long Swissy, short Aussie kind of thing.
Would that? Would it be better for the Aussie to weaken for exports? No.
Oh God, mate, they love it. They absolutely love it. You know, no currency wants to be too strong.
I don't understand how the Kiwi can survive being so. You know, it being so expensive, I don't see how they can trade.
Big problem with these small economies. So you got the likes of New Zealand and Switzerland that do not want to be ahead of the likes of the dollar, because not only does it harm their export industry, but it's also, you know, even things like New Zealand's a really important one. You know, it could harm their leisure industry, the holiday makers and things like that too. So yeah.
Anyway, if you're following my pound Aussie trade, which is the third or the fourth one this week, I think, or over the last week or so, we're now got stops at entry. So it will be another winner. Everyone's been a winner. I know one will break even, I think, but it's just not following through as it should. We'll get there eventually. Interestingly, and you know, this goes probably to the point, okay, you're an idiot, but I disagree with that that sentiment. Had I not moved my stop loss and traded here, I'm still in that position, less than 1-to-1. In fact, I'm only 1/3 to 1 on that overall trade, where in the 4 trades that we've taken, I think I'm probably up about 0.75%.
Nice.
Something like that. So that has actually worked by
Yeah.
getting in there on every pullback and
Yeah.
trailing the stop tightly rather than just keeping the position in the market.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
I can sleep on the weekend no matter what happens. So all's good.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Well, I mean, it's just different ways to play the trend, isn't it? Ainsley was saying to me yesterday, I find it really, it's amazing to me that you can trade on these 15-minute charts, and Jeff can trade in these ranges. It's just incredible. And I said to her, actually, you know what? I could not trade the way that she manages to add. I find it really difficult for add points because I want to get in and out. It just doesn't suit me. But inevitably, it means that I don't make the same money as someone like Ainsley when there's a trend. But
it's got to be a pretty strong trend to do that, because what she tends to do, I think, is trade support and resistance levels once she's in the trade.
Yeah.
And as soon as she hits resistance, same as you, what you call first contact, she'll move her stops to entry straight away.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's no risk in the trade after that.
Gotcha.
But if it comes back, you're out, of course. So the trend has to be strong enough to withstand those retracements.
Yeah.
And when it's season, when it's in season, as we all know, gold just does that, just way it goes.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it, mate?
When it's choppy,
I'd find that really frustrating. I'd hate to get in a trade, but be me having seen my account, up by whatever, and then it come all the way back and take me out again.
Well,
and it does depend on your appetite.
Look at my chart. That's what's been happening.
Yeah.
As I said before, I've managed to get stops to entry after having taken profit.
Yeah.
So I've taken profit on every single one of these trades.
Right.
So I keep banking money at the same time. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Well, that's
I'm not a trend trader, and I've never been a trend trader. So it's kind of foreign territory to me to be comfortable in that space.
Yeah.
So I kind of have to
doing a grand old job, and
I kind of have to make my own way.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, mate. I mean, the fact that you're trying new things, I think is pretty impressive. I've become a bit set in my ways now. I'm like, nah, this is the way I'm doing it. That's that.
Well, actually, I disagree. If we turned the clock back 12 months, you were trading completely differently. You are.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Maybe I've just found the thing that kind of works, and that's the thing I just want to stick to.
Nirvana, trading nirvana. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, there's a bottle of Pinot Grigio waiting for me.
Go and get your leaf from Ilsh, and
will do.
And your tenant super, and we will see you for next week. Enjoy.
King size hangover, man.
Sorry?
Tenant super and 2 bottles of white wine. That's a king size hangover on the making.
Yeah, absolutely.
It might have been when I was young, but no, not anymore.
Not anymore. You can handle it now. You'll build up a resistance.
You drink the better stuff. It hasn't got all those dreadful chemicals in it.
All right, man. All right. Well, great week. Thanks so much for yesterday, mate. I really, really do appreciate you coming in and helping me out.
Too easy. We'll do it again next Wednesday.
Great, mate. Thank you. Thank you to you, John. Enjoy the quiz as always, mate. And as I say, in the new month, we'll be starting a new format. Thanks, guys, for your support. Really appreciate everybody in the room and your support of the show as well. And great to see you back, Jira. We'll see you hopefully next week as well. Thanks, Angel, for looking after us this week, and we'll see you on the flip side. And enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the rest of your week, and enjoy the rest of your weekend as well.
100%. Thank you, trading buddies, all in one. We will catch you next week. Bye bye.